Our movie for this month is a film that I have wanted us to watch for a couple months. Once it popped up on Netflix, I thought, well, this is one we should definitely look at because it is a great movie, and it's a groundbreaking American film and a landmark American film. But I had some hesitation about watching this film because of its length. This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. However, it is paced to the point that it doesn't drag. It doesn't become cumbersome that the film is nearly 3 hours long. So this month we are watching from Columbia Pictures in 1959, Otto Preminger's Anatomy of a Murder. Anatomy of a Murder was based off of a best-selling book, and this film was sort of the sort of unofficial beginning of the end of the production code in Hollywood. Now, the production code was something that existed from 1930 through 1968. It was basically a set of standards that all studios had to follow to get their films released. It basically said, no cussing, no nudity, no frank depictions of sex or anything like that. Now, there was a 4-year period from 1930 to 1934 when the code wasn't strictly enforced, and that's known as the pre-code era. Whenever people say that older films are more pure and clean, I like to refer to the Barbara Stanwyck film Baby Doll, a 1932 film, I believe, in which Barbara Stanwyck plays a woman who sleeps her way to the top of the corporate ladder after spending her childhood prostituted out by her father, and she's visibly groped on screen within the first 15 minutes of the movie. That doesn't have much to do with Anatomy of a Murder outside of me just giving you a bit of context. Anatomy of a Murder stars James Stewart, and he plays a lawyer who has been charged with defending a army officer who has murdered a man who allegedly raped his wife. Keep in mind, this is 1959. The number one grossing film that year was Ben-Hur. This film came in at number 10 on the high grossing list. And the success of that partly helped kind of propel sort of the end of the studio system and the end of the production code, because this was the first major mainstream Hollywood film to have to discuss sex and rape in frank and blunt terms. And it's not done in a way that was a gimmick, in a way that was like, oh my gosh, can you believe we're talking about this? No, it's just part of the case in the film. This is also one of the first mainstream Hollywood films to have the word bitch actually said out loud. I don't want to say it's the first, but this is definitely one of the first films. The film was highly controversial when it was first released for a number of reasons. As a matter of fact, Jimmy Stewart's own father thought the film was so dirty he took an ad out in his local newspaper advising people to not watch the film. Otto Preminger sort of got his first major breakout in Hollywood when he made the great film noir classic Laura in 1944, a film which you should watch because it has Vincent Price in it, and it's a really great film. Most of the actors in this film you recognize would be, let's see, you've got George C. Scott is in it as a hotshot lawyer from the big city of Lansing, Michigan. Oh, and if you've ever wondered where the cliche of, well, I'm just a simple country lawyer comes from, it may start with this film, because Jimmy Stewart plays that type of a folksy former attorney general who's recently been who recently lost his re-election. This is his first case and his first case as a defense lawyer in a very long time. And at one point he does say the line, "I'm just a humble country lawyer." So all of that kind of dates to this film. And another really cool thing about this movie is it's got Eve Arden in it, who was probably not really a character actress, but a very well-known actress of the era. At this point, I believe she had her sitcom Our Miss Brooks, but what she's probably best known for modern viewers is she is the principal in Grease. You will also notice in the court scene Floyd the Barber himself as a doctor who checked out the raped woman for any traces of sperm. So if you ever wanted to see Floyd the Barber talking about sperm, by God, this is the movie for you. Arguably one of the best parts of this film is the musical score by Duke Ellington, one of the true titans of American music, because jazz is ours. He used his own band to score this. He didn't use sort of contract musicians from the studio. And it's this really cool kind of jazz score, which was pretty much a novelty at the time. Ellington only went on to score, I think, 3 or 4 other films outside of this one. The soundtrack album is really good, definitely worth checking out. And he has a cameo role in the film wearing a jacket that only Duke Ellington could get away with wearing. You'll see him in a dance scene as the owner of a nightclub named Pie Eye, and there's a little shot of he and Jimmy Stewart playing piano together, and that's kind of a lovely moment. The content of the film doesn't seem surprising today, but for 1959, this was a very bold move to release this film, and it got released without any cuts or edits whatsoever. I mean, it's nearly 3 hours long. I mean, they're good. I'm taking hardly nothing out. Oh, and the film's trailer is very interesting. Interesting. It has Preminger sort of introducing the actors as if he's swearing them in to be a part of this film. I'll post that on our Facebook page. But yes, this month we are watching Anatomy of a Murder. It's a really great movie, one I think that you'll enjoy. If you need to watch it in parts, I totally understand because it's nearly 3 hours, but it's worth it. I think you won't regret spending 3 hours with this film. So, all right, I'll see you next month.